First of all, I want to thank you for all this new information. It's really inspired me to look within and know that it's possible to go to a new level. So along those lines, could you talk a little bit more about the process of focusing towards the future in the kind of day-to-day movement through our day?
It's a wonderful question, most important question in light of where we all are together, because we say, no matter what your question is, go to the vortex.
Right.
That's our answer for everything. Go to the vortex. Go to the vortex, because in the vortex is the solution, in the vortex is the answer, in the vortex is you, and in the vortex you feel good. So go to the vortex. And so this question is, how?
Right.
How do I go to the vortex? And we say, well, the first thing has already been accomplished. If you accept the reality of this vibrational reality, if you accept the reality of it, and you are willing to understand yourself in relationship to it, then you can tell by the way you feel whether in any moment, which is where all your power is, right now. In other words, you wake up 7 hours later, and even though the clock said a different time than it did at the same time yesterday, it was still now. Right. Now. Even though you're awake and on the other side of the world they may be asleep, it's still now. Now is this juncture where you meet you. It's where the blending, better or not so good, the allowing of the blending or the resisting of the blending is happening. So if in this powerful now you are aware of the existence of this vibrational reality, and because you are aware of how you feel, of your relationship to it, now you're on the path of deliberate creating. So now let's just back that up a little bit and say it in a more precise way. So this vibrational reality includes all that I've become. And me, the thinker who's asking these questions right now, is standing in some vibrational proximity to it. And I'm doing my best not to think of myself as the haver and the doer and the person and the personality and the relative to someone else. I'm doing my best to let my feeling of relativity be to who I've become in relationship or comparison to who I'm letting myself be right now. So I am keenly aware of the way I feel. Now, those are really good words. Keenly aware of the way I feel. So let's talk about some feelings you might be having. If I'm keenly aware of the way I feel, now my guidance system is alive, and now and only now my guidance system is perceived consciously by me. And now and only now do I have the ability to move in the direction of who I really am. So as you stand here in your physical now, and you reach for feelings, and let's, for just a moment, let's separate something that's happened. In other words, somebody didn't come and say something to you. Something didn't just happen. You're just being in a moment. You're just being the juncture of you and you in a moment. And let's say right now you feel bored. You feel bored. Just feel bored. Sort of just lethargic, disinterested, bored. So now, if you've decided to do what you're asking to do in your question, then that awareness of that boredom is really key, because that means whatever it is I've been thinking really recently, in the last minute, what I've been pondering is off from the way Source sees this moment. So I was thinking how I don't really like where I am, or I was thinking that it's sort of a dreary day, or I was thinking that I'm not really happy with this restaurant I'm eating in, or in other words, you can pinpoint every time the feeling with the thought that caused the alignment or not. So then, as we began today, rather than just accepting the feeling, you say, I'm going to be forward feeling. Okay. Because I haven't been forward feeling just now. I was taking it as it came. I was reactively feeling. I was responding. I wasn't proactively feeling. I wasn't deliberately feeling. I was responding. So now you say, I'm going to feel my way forward. And so feeling forward means I love the feeling of interest. I love feeling myself feel eager about things. I love the feeling of clicking. I love the feeling of resonance. I love the feeling of enthusiasm. I love the feeling of passion. I love the feeling of. So just now, you were forward feeling. Mm-hmm. Now let's say you're just having a moment, a reactive moment, because you weren't deliberately thinking, and you can't deliberately think every moment. In other words, it's just not normal. So you're having a reactive moment, and the reactive moment, you feel anger, and you feel it, and you acknowledge that you feel anger, and then you acknowledge that the feeling of anger is because of a thought you were just thinking, and then you identify the thought you were thinking. And the thought you were thinking was, this person with whom I'm co-creating was not honoring the agreement that I thought we had in place. This person is self-interested and not keeping the agreement, not doing what we agreed. And I'm having a reactive, emotional response. But I want to be forward feeling. And when my awareness of that happened, I launched an equivalent solution. So I like the feeling of, now you're forward feeling, I like the feeling of co-creation working. I like the feeling of harmony. I love the feeling of respect. I love the feeling of things working out. I love the feeling of win-win. I love the feeling of cooperation. I love the feeling of communication. I love the feeling of mutual minds working together and coming up with even better ideas. I like the idea of benefit all the way around. Forward feeling. You see what we're getting at? Yeah. So now you're having a moment, a reactive moment. Mm-hmm. A child just bounced through your campground with her little ponytail flying and her little shoes lighting up and a smile on her face, and your heart is just singing. You're having a reactive moment. Mm-hmm. And you stop and you think, I'm having a reactive moment. What am I reacting to? Well, I'm reacting to my thought of that joyful child. And now I want to be even more forward thinking. That child could bounce like that her whole life. All children of the world could feel that way. Mm-hmm. It is so exhilarating to see the richness of life. What an incredible planet we live on, where we have the benefit of this stability. What a magnificent campground this is that keeps itself open and ready for business and beautiful. Look at the flowers and all of the fall decorations and all of the playground equipment and all of the things that just enhance the lives of these little kids. Look at the horseshoe throwing place, and look at the baseball diamond, and look at the duck pond, and look at this magnificent place that is so. And just milk it, just milk this moment. I love my life. I love my world. I love that child. I love my body. I love this moment. I love this life. I love my life. I love that child's life. I love that child's parents. I love that child's sister on that bicycle. I love that dog. I am. You see what we're getting at? In other words, you're just actively feeling forward, always feeling forward, receiving the benefit of the larger part of you that already went there and feels that way. But when you feel forward to it, you find it. In other words, you as humans, you're so naturally empathetic, but you're empathetic in all the wrong places. I feel for you, man. You're singing my song. You want to be forward feeling, you see. And as you're forward feeling, you come into alignment with who you are. Yeah. What fun this has been. So, do you feel a little more vibrational than you did when we began? Do you feel more an emotional responder to the vibrational being that you are a little more than you did when we began? You're more true to yourself, because who you are is a vibrational being. Who you really are is someone who knows your value. And when you're true to yourself, you know your value. When you're true to yourself, you love. You love yourself and you love others, but it's easier just to love than to love others. It's easier to love some than to love all, and it's easier just to love than to love some. You get the sense of what we're talking about? The state of being is much easier to accomplish than you have formerly thought. So this for sure has been accomplished as we've played together today. You are more vibrationally oriented than you have been, which means you are more step 3 oriented than you have been. You are more blended than you have been. You're more sensitive to energy than you have been. You're more like the beasts of your planet than you have been. You're more allowing than you have been. You're more in tune with who you really are than you have been. So you feel better than you usually feel. You're more articulate than you have been. You're more fun than you have been. You're more frisky than you have been. You're more eager than you have been. You're more of who you really are than you have been. In other words, you have found and sustained the feeling place of who you really are for a longer period of time than you usually do. In other words, you're more in the vortex than you have been. But having said all of that, you're still free to move about. But the most significant thing that we want to say to you is you are more aware of and practiced at, even if you just listened and didn't speak. You are a better focuser now than you have been. Focuser of what? Focuser of energy. Focuser of energy. Focuser of energy. Are you a better focuser of thought? Maybe, maybe not. Are you a better focuser of energy? For sure. So play with the idea that you think and feel and 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 think, feel and think, feel and think, feel and think. And as you sit to meditate, and it's really good to do it, sit to feel, sit to feel, sit to feel, sit to feel well-being, sit to feel secure, sit to feel well-being, sit to feel stable, sit to feel harmony, sit to feel love, sit to feel good, sit to feel well-being, sit to feel stability, sit to feel secure, sit to feel stability, sit to feel secure, sit to feel alive, sit to feel well-being, sit to feel secure, sit to feel worthy, sit to feel sure, sit to feel calm, sit to feel peace, sit to feel energy, sit to feel love, sit to feel source, sit to feel whole, sit to feel you, sit to feel you in the vortex, sit to feel you in your world, sit to feel you in your body, sit to feel you in your best planned body, sit to feel you in the body in your mind's eye, sit to feel you in the relationship in your mind's eye, sit to feel you in the financial abundance that you have created, sit to feel your wonderful world, sit to feel your stable and perfect world, sit to feel your productive government, sit to feel your cooperative neighbors, sit to feel the well-being of your planet, sit to feel the stability of your being, sit to feel the excellence of your world, sit to feel the harmonics of the variety, sit to feel the perfection of the variety. Make claim to what you've put into your vortex and feel your way there and sit to reach for the feeling of it until you've trained yourself into those feelings that then will engender the thoughts and the others with whom you can dance your creative, magical, perfect, ever-expanding, co-creative dance with anyone who has managed to feel themselves into the vortex where you are. Do that, and you will never again rendezvous with anyone not there where you are. In other words, shore yourself up and be who you are. And in doing so, find the joy that you have laid out for yourself, because anything less than what we have just described is not who you are. And that emptiness feels like various degrees of negative emotion, which will give you constant guidance to point you in the direction of feeling for the energy that is really you. We've enjoyed this more than words can say. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain eternally in the vortex.